we did like 2 months of Gojira, and that was super good at like just ripping the band-aid off and just being like playing in front of thousands of people who've never heard you, and who are like very loyal fans to the headliner. That's the hardest position you can be in, because like they're just like completely like cold to you. So like once we did like 2 months of that, like I was like, I'm cool, like, you know, let's just have a good time. Like I've just completely stopped caring like about anything apart from having a good time playing live.
Justine, thank you so much for your time today. Treachery is coming soon as we speak, April 25th. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's not long now. I think 12 days today. So Spotify, I'm not actually counting. It just tells me.
Yeah, just like checking every 5 seconds, like, okay, who's pre-saved this album?
Let's save to those numbers, as I'm sure every other band member is these days.
That's the thing, right? I mean, launching like release day these days, you know, it used to be big parties and being on tour. These days, it's usually just checking your phone a lot. I know they've got some shows coming later this month, so that's great for you. But you know, so many bands out there just basically just have to sit behind a computer desk for 24 hours and respond to every message. This is an exciting one because I mean, we'll go into the record in just a second and everything that you guys are doing, but you know, we can really tell from our perspective that, you know, your label is really treating this as a high profile release, as a third release with Spine Farm. For a lot of people, especially outside of the UK, where I know that obviously you've had more exposure maybe already for people here in North America and other parts of the world, this album is going to be an introduction to the band for so many people. But you're far from the overnight sensation. Like, you've been doing this for quite some time. Like, is that a weird dynamic for you that you're with this release cycle? I'm sure you're talking to more people, to people you've never talked to before. But you know, the first album is what, 10 years old at this point?
Yeah, it is. Jesus. Like it's one of those things though, right? Like I come across bands that have been going for like 20 years that I've never heard before, and they're new to me.
Right.
It doesn't matter how old a record is. Like, if you've just listened to it that day, then it's still kind of technically new, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's a funny one, but like it's just quite hard for bands to get over to North America, to be honest. So like I'm really excited to like finally go over there at some point. I'm manifesting it. It'll happen. It was supposed to happen in 2020. We had our visas accepted and everything, but you know,
something happened. Yeah, I don't remember what, but
yeah, it's a little something that made a bit of a splash. But hopefully we'll with this record get to tour outside of Europe. That'd be very nice. I just like to go on holiday places. Like, touring for me is a way of seeing the world. It's like kind of speed tourism.
Yeah, for sure. It's a weird dynamic that both, you know, for a lot of people, you're a new band and might feel for you that you're also just getting started, but then, first album is 10 years old. You could start doing like 10-year anniversary re-releases and like legacy music tours and stuff like that. Obviously, when you start doing that, there's no turning back, because then every year something is 10 years old and eventually 15 and 20.
It's a slippery slope, you know.
Yeah. Do you look back though on the fact that it has been this long already? Like do milestones like that, are they special to you?
Yes and no. They don't really register with me because I don't feel old enough to have had something out for 10 years. But I suppose because we started it like when we were like 19, early 20s,
right?
Like kind of, like it just kind of happens, doesn't it? Like, we've just been doing it for a long time. And honestly, like, it's only in the past, 5 or so, maybe a bit more years, where I feel like the industry is geared up towards newer bands. Like, back when we started, It was really hard to get covered in magazines, and, you know, people weren't like the sort of industry and like fans in general. They didn't seem to like support newer bands as much as they do now. Right. I feel like since sort of 2019/COVID, I feel like there's been more emphasis on like championing like the little bands, which is like really awesome. Yeah. You see like bands like, I mean, Sleep Token have always been on a rise, but they're like an obvious example. I mean, they've exploded. Mm-hmm. You know, and I just don't think that would have happened like 10 years ago.
the current climate in the industry is definitely more open-minded to people that do things a little different or that are harder to categorize. And maybe that's a good segue into this album. Because, once we press play on the album, I had a chance to listen to the full album already, obviously. In a matter of seconds, we get like elements from very different areas. Like there's equal parts of Slayer and Killswitch Engage, and then some Arch Enemy that are all kind of like in this sound that mixes together like modern metal, post-hardcore, some deathcore elements, you name it. There's a lot that you can pick out on that does make it really hard to categorize yourselves. Is that something that the band is kind of like? Is that a conscious thing when you are writing for anything, that it has to not fit in a box?
It does. No, it's not like sort of something we like. We don't try to be difficult. Like we
I didn't call it difficult. I said different.
No, no. I don't even mean that. But
I'm
yeah,
just
like
teasing you.
we in the comment section there is like people arguing over what we are. We just called ourselves a metal band.
Right.
We've we're like in our formative years, we're like during streaming services and like the internet, so we were able to like listen to so many different bands and different genres and things like that. And I think naturally that kind of bleeds into our music. Like I feel like it's the same for a lot of bands, really. I also think it's a big thing for like British bands, because our scene is so tiny, like compared to like anywhere else in Europe or and North America especially. Like you can't even reach the end of a state in like 5 hours in some of
Right.
them. Whereas, you're in another country if you like drive that far in England. So because like the scenes are so close knit, I find you just end up melding different genres. You play with different kinds of metal bands as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
we'd play with like death metal bands, we'd play with like, sometimes pop punk bands, because that
Right.
was just how it goes. There's not as many bands, or at least there wasn't that many when we were like coming up. So yeah, like all the lineups were super mixed, and I think that just kind of bleeds into like British bands, really.
Yeah, yeah. How is the crowd reaction in those cases? Because yeah, like because of all the different elements in your sound, you can play with so many different bands, but you can also then be too weird for some of them. Like yeah, there is post-hardcore in your music. There's no doubt about that, but you're maybe a little left field for the average post-hardcore fan, and or with any kind of element that's in your music. How do you how do you see the audience react, and also like maybe over time as you've been playing and more releases and people recognizing your sound more, like has that changed? Like have people changed from doing this to really being into it? Like what's that evolution?
Totally depends on what city you play. It's really interesting. Like certain cities have like a real like stance, and it doesn't mean they're not enjoying it. So I made the mistake
Yeah,
of like
yeah,
thinking the crossed arms were like just them disinterested, but I had it like I remember. I think it was on one of the shows we played with them, supporting Bury Tomorrow back in 2019. There was this couple who came to like every single show on the tour, and they'd always be at the front like that, like staring at us, waiting for Bury Tomorrow to like play. And on the
yeah,
last show, they came up to the merch table, bought everything on our merch table, and said that when their new favorite band and they enjoyed themselves so much they can't wait to see us on the next tour.
yeah, yeah,
But like
yeah,
all
yeah,
I saw was them just like doing that. So I've learned to sort of just not take that in, not take that for like face value. I
yeah,
suppose the
yeah,
thing that I like, I mean, I smile and nod. I'm very much a tote bag clutcher at the edge of the pit because I don't want to get involved. Um, but yeah, like it's an interesting one. I feel like people are sort of warming up. I think it just completely depends on what the lineup is. Like one
right.
of my favorite tours we've ever done was where we played with Milk Teeth, and they are a pop punk band. Like there was like a sort of another sort of kind of poppy punk band slash shoegaze grunge band at opening, and then it was us who were metal, and then them who was like very very pop punk. And it was one of the best tours we've ever done because we got like loads of younger fans like into
Yeah,
us, and they
yeah,
still come to our shows to this day. Like I actually recognize those people from that tour because it's back when we were smaller. Which not that we're much bigger now, but you know what I mean. It's yeah, it's just interesting. But I think yeah, you just gotta like not be too scared of mixing things because people listen to everything these days because they have the access to it. Which
yeah,
when
yeah,
coming up. Like when I was like 14, I was having to save up £20 for like a CD every month, and that was all like I could afford my pocket money. So now, like for a tenner, you can listen to anything you want.
Mixing things together and creating some unity is a slogan that you like to use as well, and that's not necessarily about the musical elements in your sound, but much bigger than that. And it completely comes to life on this album with, I think, my favorite song on the album so far. I mean, we'll have to listen to it more, but "Brother Stand Beside Me," I think, is really a standout song on this album. And I like it. The You're not the only band that is afraid. That's not afraid. Sorry, to show emotion, to show vulnerability, to deal with the head on tackle some issues. But I like the fact that like so many bands will talk about it very much from the I perspective. I love that song really goes on like, hey, at least that's how I've interpreted this song. I could be completely off here. Like, hey, I know that we're in this together, so let's do it together. And it's a little bit more focused on the collective. Is that a right way of interpreting a song, or am I just making a fool of myself?
Yeah,
right now?
like it's about sort of like, standing by people you care about through, thick and thin. And yeah, like that's something that is important to us. Like we run a record label as well, and like all of our band members have been like, in the music scene since they were like teenagers. And I think a sense of community is like super important in this genre of music. Like, at the end of the day, if you're into metal, like you're an outcast. You're probably bullied in school because you're like a weird goth. So I think like, you're like this sort of small percentage of music fans that love this really weird genre of music. I mean, weird to everyone else, not to me or you. But yeah, I think it's just important to make it a nice place for everyone to be in. And I feel like it takes more than one band to carry a scene. So like it's important to sort of like, play with your friends' bands, like support them when they come through town,
Yeah, but many bands would say in that same song, "I will stand beside you," and I love how you turn it the other way around. Like say like, "Hey, come here," So I thought that was really smartly done. There's a lot of meaning in all of your songs. I want to also touch on the cover art, which is cool as well. And I know that elements of the cover art is being used to kind of like highlight some of the singles that have been released as well. There's a lot of symbolism in that artwork. Is it as straightforward as some of these symbols represent some of the songs that are being separately released? I have a feeling there's way more going on. So what can you share about the secrets of the cover art?
So some of the cover art are also throwbacks to our old records as well. So this isn't the guy's reference, but this is my personal reference. In Pixar films, where there's like at least like a toy or an object that was in the previous films.
Yeah. And the license plate number.
Yeah, literally stuff like that. So yeah, we wanted to bring that album cover back because it's been, I think, like 8 years since our second album, What for Dying Sun. And that album was a super negative album. Like we were in our early 20s. We kind of felt a bit lost in what we wanted to do. Like we knew we wanted to like pursue the band, but like it's impossible to do it full time. And we worked like all working jobs we hated. And yeah, it was just quite a negative, like angsty record. Whereas this one's like comes from the sort of hindsight of being in our early 30s and like having that nice sort of sense of like, what's the word? Sort of confidence, I guess, in the like when when you're older and you've like been through like certain things in life and you've come through it on the other side and you realize that things are going to be all right, and like it's that sort of optimistic point of view. But it also does touch on negative aspects of life as well.
You said in the beginning already of the conversation, you are one of those lucky bands that around the album's release, you actually have several shows lined up. You've got a couple of UK shows, first and foremost. I know there's some festivals announced as well, European summer festivals. We're going to see you, so it's going to get busier for you. I obviously know that on festival shows, you're always limited in what you can do, and there's always limited time. But for these shows that you're playing later this month, what can we expect from that?
Or we're going to be playing our new singles, and then we're also going to be playing the sort of, I guess they call it the focus track on
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
really. And that's going to be the one with Jesse Leach on it. So we're going to play that for everyone before it's out, which we're quite excited about. Yeah, I'm like, I can't wait. Like we haven't headlined since 2023, like late 2023. So I can't wait. It's quite a nice thing headlining because like
Mhm.
they're all on your side. Like
Yeah, yeah,
obviously
yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
try, but like like do our best to win new people over because there's obviously hopefully new people coming to our shows. But it's quite nice. It's like a coming home feeling because I do like supporting bands because it is also fun trying to like win people over. But there is a
Right.
nice comfort to like playing to your own crowd.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just more administration and stuff behind the scenes you have to deal with, but and also more pressure. And how is the band treating with that? Because because you started so young, by your early 30s, you are very experienced machine at this point. But given the broader reach of this album and the response of the press and interest and all the kind of stuff, and then also these headline shows, like, do you guys feel that added pressure as well?
Um, I don't. I think there's like always this sort of pressure I put on myself for each record to do better. I don't
Mhm.
know what that even means myself, but like I guess
Right.
sell more tickets or get more streams and like it's
Yeah.
quite I do get wrapped up in those numbers. I try really hard not to. I'm sure everyone
Hmm.
else too, but like it's a little slippery slope. Um but I think that's the only thing like I sort of struggle with really. Apart from that, I just really enjoy playing live. I've like played like enough last couple of years. We did like 2 months of Gojira, and that was super good at
Yeah.
like just ripping the band-aid off and just being like playing in front of thousands of people who've never heard you, and who are like very loyal fans to the headliner,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're
Yeah. Yeah.
open. That's the hardest position you can be in because like
Right.
they're just like completely like cold to you. So like once we did like 2 months of that, like I was like, I'm cool. Like let's just have a good time. Like I've just completely
Yeah. Yeah.
stopped caring like about anything apart from having a good time playing live.
Yeah. It's I think like Gojira is definitely now up there, but like legacy wise, there's so many bands that I've talked to that are like we were so excited to be picked by Iron Maiden or Slayer to be their opening band, and then
Oh,
our
but then
entire
it's
show, people are
glorious.
just chanting Maiden, 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 or Slayer,
I
Slayer,
mean,
Slayer.
the Gojira fans are lovely though. They were like
Yeah.
super welcoming, so that was really nice for us because you do you never know, do you? Because like it is like, are we going to get like an Iron Maiden esque
Yeah. Yeah.
sort of
Response.
yeah
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
response? But yeah, I think Gojira have been really awesome at always championing like new bands, and
Hmm.
I think fans kind of expect to have a few unknown names on the bill. So yeah, we were super lucky to have that tour.
Yeah, yeah. To kind of maybe wrap up with that from a different angle, when you have that intense experience with a band like Gojira, who uh, not only have become one of the biggest bands in metal world, uh, they've also have been such a solid machine with an extremely stable core of a
Mhm.
lineup. Um, what for you, besides the fact that they're nice people and that they are interested in new bands and that their crowd is nice, from a more from an artistic or even like a band management perspective, like what is like a key learning that you took away from that experience that you're trying to implement for your own band?
That's a great question. So I've been a fan of that band since I was like a kid, like since Mars to Sirius came out. I think that's
Yeah.
2006. I think that came out. I think I got to a bit late, so I've been a huge fan. Like I like how they've just been steady, like they've
Mhm.
just been like chipping away to the point where like they've worked really hard over these years and they've just amalgamated this incredible fan base. They haven't ever compromised on their sound. They still sound incredible. Every album is still better than the last. And yeah, like I want to be them when I grow up. Like they're such an
Yeah,
inspiring
yeah, yeah,
band, and I just think it's phenomenal that a band that heavy has played the Olympics. I mean, they
yeah.
they made history of that.
Oh, absolutely.
And I like their work ethic. They're very nice people, and they're just incredible musicians. Like they're like the full package. There's got to be
Hmm.
something wrong with them, right? They've got to smell bad or something, but they don't even smell. So
Yeah, it's unfair. It's just unfair. Sexy
yeah,
French accents as well. Come on, what's up with
I
that?
know.
It's unfair to all of us, but awesome. But now we know it's out
Mm.
there. We know that you're going to come at one point to North America, and at the Olympics in like 10 years from now, we'll see you guys play an even bigger show than Gojira did last summer. Awesome. Well, Justine, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I know it's going to be extremely hectic and busy for you in a few days from now, so enjoy the last little bit of calm before the storm. And I wish you guys all the best with this album release.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.